In 1 week, we are welcomed in a reception of Ramadan. The question is, are we ready for this reception? And I don't mean preparation in the sense of doing more shopping and more date and other stuff and fill refrigerators full of Ramadani stuff. When I'm talking about preparation, I'm talking about being ready in mind, in heart, and obviously physically in our body for the major messages of Ramadan. And briefly, there are two major messages that the reception of Ramadan is providing. Number one, the reception of revelation. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. The book of Allah, the words of the Lord. So Ramadan is a reception about reading and recitation of revelation of the heaven. لكل شيء ربيع والربيع القرآن شهر رمضان. أكثروا فيه من تلاوة القرآن. Maximize reciting this book in this coming month. في الخطبة الشعبانية ومن ترى فيه آية من القرآن كان له مثل أجر من ختم القرآن في غيره من الشهور. Even one verse of recitation during Ramadan based on the hadith of the Holy Prophet is as rewarding as reading the entire Quran. Of course, recitation and reading by itself is not the point. رب تال القرآن والقرآن يلعنه. There are people who are printing the Quran and publishing the Quran and reading the Quran more than anyone else in the world. But the result is ISIS and Al-Qaeda and others. So it's not reciting in a sense of just reciting. They are reciting it, but they are corrupting it. And they are destroying it more than anyone else. So what we mean is reciting, but at the same time, reflection on this revelation. For example, if we go by the subject in the Quran, Surah Al-Furqan, there are 12 characteristics of Ibadur Rahman. Who are Ibadur Rahman? Let us have a checkup, a spiritual checkup in Ramadan. Who are Ibadur Rahman? Reciting those verses. Surah Al-Ra'd, there are 8 characteristics of Ulul Albab. Who are the Ulul Albab? Let us check it. Surah Al-Mu'minun, there are 7 characteristics of Al-Muflihun, who are people of salvation. Let us go through this spiritual checkup through reciting and reflecting on the Quran Ramadan. You go to Surah Al-Ma'arij, there are 8 characteristics of people of paradise, who are Ashab al-Jannah. Let us check it. I was watching a video from a girl from Iran. She's only 7-year-old. Subhanallah, reciting the Quran with a beautiful voice. Although her original language is not Arabic, she answers the questions in Arabic, memorizing the entire Quran, and you can pick up any word or any verse from anywhere in the Quran, and she continues. And she's only 7 years old. This is human capacity. I heard that her mom was reciting the Quran when she was pregnant of her daughter. And from day number 1, they focus. And the rest of her siblings, the same. But now she's invited to all these different international Quran conferences, and everybody's shocked This is the message of the Quran, brothers and sisters. So the first major message of the month of Ramadan is al-wahy, revelation, and then recitation, and then reflection, and application, to put it in action at the end. That's number one. Number two, the message of resistance. كتب عليكم كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. The message of at-taqwa. That means Allah is giving us 1 month of opportunity to have an exercise, like how the armies of the world, they have like a military exercise to be mighty and strong when they face their enemies. Now the month of Ramadan is a spiritual maneuvering that we have chance to exercise and then be strong against our enemies. And who is our enemy? إِنَّهُ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌ مُبِينٌ. The shaitan. The most effective weapon to use against Satan, against the evil of shaitan, is not intercontinental ballistic missiles. No, that doesn't work for the shaitan. The most powerful force to defeat the satanic forces, the evil, the shaitan, as the Quran is telling us, is the power of piety. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. That is the power that we need to use. Of course, there are some physical benefit for fasting. سُمُّ تَصِحُّ. You want to become healthy, you fast. الْمِعْدَةُ بَيْتُ كُلِّ دَاءٍ وَالْحِمْيَةُ رَأْسُ كُلِّ دَوَاءٍ. The stomach is the home of all illness and diseases. But then al-himya, al-imsak, to fast, is the best medicine for health. But obviously when we go through holy month of Ramadan, we are not fasting with the intention of burning the physical fatness. The purpose of Ramadan is to receive a spiritual fitness, that our spirit is a spirit of piety. So لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ means to establish a spiritual security system in our soul. That is a taqwa. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ also means to gain a spiritual freedom. Number three, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ means to receive a spiritual vaccination in our soul against all spiritual diseases. And number four, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ means charging our soul with the power of patience. You know, many of us, we miss and we lose our patience so easily. Just a few days ago, I was driving for a meeting in Warren City, and somebody was driving a motorcycle, and I saw there was a car behind that motorcycle, and this guy motorcycle, and there was a lady sitting behind him on motorcycle, and starting cursing the driver behind him, and I was confused. Nothing happened. Why this guy is so angry? And I look at that driver, he was confused. He didn't know why this guy is so angry and saying all these F words and crazy words. Nothing happened. Just for silly things, people lose the entire patience. And this is why we have all these problems in society, and all this divorce and destruction and drugs and alcohol and everything. Depression starts from the illness of impatience. And لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, the holy month of Ramadan, is to charge our soul with the power of patience, so we are strong in dealing with other challenges in our life. Number five, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ means the power of determination. If somebody is able to fast for 17 hours, 20 hours, even avoiding drinking water, this person receives a determination to be able to reject alcohol and other haram stuff if he is able to deny drinking water. And number 6, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ means to receive a spiritual discipline. You know, in month of Ramadan, everybody is more disciplined. There are already people 1 week before Ramadan, they are asking about Imsakiyah. What time is the Al-Fajr? And what time is the time of Imsak? And what time is Shuruq? And what time is Al-Maghrib? And what time is Al-Maghrib? What time to start the fast? And they want to make sure that they don't violate even 1 minute of fasting. That is a discipline. I wish we would apply the same discipline in Salatul Jummah too. I mean, we are doing this Salatul Jummah for the last 22 years. And do you remember if I was late for 5 minutes for any of this Salat in the last 22 years? I don't remember it myself. Always on time. And now you see there are brothers and sisters who still they are not with us. And the moment that we start the prayer, the hall is full. We must apply the same discipline of Ramadan in other activities during the year. Somebody was telling me, one of the Hujjaj, he said, the only reason that I'm not coming to Friday prayer because I need to go to the bathroom back and forth, and I cannot sit down there for 1 hour. I have to go to the bathroom. I said, still, you can come to the Friday prayer. I mean, if you have to go to the bathroom and you are listening to khutbah and you go to bathroom back and forth, no problem. It's, you know, that is a problem that you really have to deal with that. But now, if worse come to the worst, right, for somebody who is really sick, come at least at the end for the salah. That's understandable. But not everybody has the same problem. Not everybody has the same excuse. For those who don't have this excuse to come and to listen to the khutbah, because the khutbah deals with so many local and national and international issues that we need to charge our soul for the rest of the week and bring more awareness what is going on. This is the meaning of لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, this kind of discipline. And number 7, this taqwa means to repair our relationship, not only with God, but with the rest of the people. This is why Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, إِنَّمَا فَرَضَ اللَّهُ الصِّيَامَ لِيَسْتَوِي بِهِ الْغَنِيُّ وَالْفَقِيرُ. When you go through fasting and you suffer, you have a better understanding with other people, with the poor. You establish friendship and human relationship and sympathy with other people. Brothers and sisters, this is why the message of لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, the message of Ramadan, the message of revelation and resistance, these 2 major missions are extremely important for the world that we live in. The world is in need of Ramadan. The world is in need of this book and this exercise in the holy month of Ramadan. The world without patience, without determination, without discipline, without the spiritual relationship, the world without piety, this is the world that we live in. The absence of these values means the absence of justice, the absence of peace, the absence of unity and brotherhood and understanding. This is why Ramadan is not just a ritual. Ramadan is a need for humanity now. Unfortunately, the world has missed this message. And those people who are supposed to be role model of these 7 values that I just mentioned, they are not good role models. They are rebels against all these values. I was following because part of khutbah is to deal with the political and social issues. I was listening to the trip of presidents going to start to Saudi Arabia soon. And I'm shocked of what is going on in this world. This is the same president that used to talk about Bin Laden and about ISIS and about Al-Qaeda, about Boko Haram, about Shabab. How many times during the election you heard Trump was talking about radical Islam? Now he's not talking about radical Islam. Have you heard him recently talk about radical Islam? Because now it's time of business with the Saudis, and they are not radical anymore now, right? They are not radical. Because now he is going to be in Riyadh to talk about money. So everything is about money. Money and might and nothing else. The values don't mean anything. 9/11 and 15 of those 19 people had the Saudi passport, doesn't mean anything. All these suffering families of victims of 9/11, looks like nobody cares about them anymore. All those propaganda against Bin Laden, who was from the Saudis, and all of the other guys, all the terrorists who get their ideology from the Salafi Wahhabi Saudi style, they don't mean anything anymore. Trump is going to talk about at least $98 billion and most probably $350 billion. Look at the number. $350 billion, the biggest arms sale in the history of America to one country, to Saudi Arabia. This is the deal of this trip. Why Saudi Arabia needs $350 billion arm? Who is threatening Saudi Arabia? Those poor Yemeni, poor Yemeni. 70 million out of 26 million Yemenis population are in danger of death because they are dying out of starvation. You heard about the cholera catastrophe just 2 days ago in Yemen. Cholera. Hundreds of kids are killed because of cholera, a disease that transmitted out of contaminated drinking water. They have to drink that dirty water and they get cholera. And there is no medicine over there. There is no antibiotic for those kids. And if they want to go to the hospital, most of the hospitals are destroyed by the Saudis. Unbelievable insanity and injustice and oppression that even I cannot sleep when I think about these disasters every night. That's what is going on in this world, oh God. Now the same filthy government of the Saudis is spending $68 million for one visitation of Donald Trump. $68 million. My goodness, $68 million for one reception? What's going on? Well, they are inviting 50 other heads of states to make the most amazing welcoming ever in history of Saudi Arabia for an American president. It's unprecedented in the history of Saudi Arabia. 50 heads of the state they invited. What is going on? What is the agenda? Are we going to talk about justice or talk about poverty, talk about disease and discrimination, Islamophobia, occupation? None of these. One agenda, the danger of Iran. The biggest joke of history. The biggest comedy of human history. That all this money, $68 billion for one visit of one president who is in trouble here with the Congress. They want to remove this president, but now he goes there like Ann Arbor Trail Dearborn. He is a god over there that they worship him. It's insanity. Of course, $68 million is not too much compared to one visit that the corrupt king of Saudi, Salman, had to Tokyo, an Asian country, that he took with him 10 aircrafts. Why he need 10 aircrafts? And 500 limousines in Tokyo were to carry all these guys with the king, and reservation of 1,200 rooms in the top hotels in Tokyo for one trip. Almost $1 billion for just a junkie trip is nothing now compared to the trip of the king himself. But it's amazing. So now Donald Trump is going to be in Riyadh. What is another subject? What is the real issue that we're going to talk about? Somebody may say, oh, because Sheikh Namr Bagir Namr was beheaded, like the style of ISIS. Now Donald Trump is going to say, this is against human rights. How can you do that? Or Saudi Kingdom is the only country in the world that women cannot even drive. Maybe Donald Trump is going to, question that problem of human rights, or inspiring the Salafi ideology, the radical Salafi ideology. Or they are going to talk about, some democracy and some election. None of this. The same time that this trip is going on, there is a big election in Iran just now that I'm talking with you. Millions and millions and millions of Iranians are voting now, and the crowd is so big that they have to extend 2 more hours to accommodate people to vote. When was the last time that we heard about in Saudi Arabia any election? The same kings and same destiny and the same dictatorship, as long as anybody can remember. As long as anybody can remember. And this is not the agenda of what they are talking about. None of this. The agenda is what make that corrupt kingdom and criminal kingdom, that we have to say shame. Shame on all those guests and shame on the host. All should be embarrassed because of this kind of reception that has nothing for humanity, nothing about justice, nothing about peace, nothing about human rights, nothing about human dignity and integrity, and everything is about cheating and lying and hypocrisy and injustice and money and corruption, the whole thing. That's shame on humanity. So that is the first foreign country that the President of the United States is visiting. The first country in the Middle East. Any other country? Well, only Israel, Saudi Arabia and Israel. That's only 2 destinations of the President Middle East trip. So now getting results from Saudi Arabia, a big deal of arm to go and kill whom? Not the ISIS, not Al-Qaeda, but bomb the Syrian sources and the Syrian soldiers who are fighting Al-Qaeda, who are fighting ISIS. They keep bombing them, right? While Trump was talking during the election that is now that we have to deal with ISIS. Now he's dealing with Assad, not with the ISIS. Now going to Israel, what is the agenda in Israel? Is the president is going to talk about those thousands of Palestinians who are in hunger strikes for almost a month now. And they are dying, only their bodies left. No, nobody cares. Israel said, we don't care about them if they are in hunger strike or not. They are terrorists. Well, so Marwan al-Barghouthi, he is a terrorist. The other Palestinians, they are terrorists. They are going through this hunger strike for basic jail rights. They are saying that let our families to visit us and let us have access to the telephone, basic thing, access to right food. That's all they are going through this hunger strike. They are not asking for something bigger, but still, no, we don't care. They are terrorists. And somebody should ask, okay, if these guys are terrorists, what about ISIS? ISIS is not terrorists? Nusra is not terrorist. Al-Qaeda is not terrorist. Boko Haram is not terrorist. Why is it that in history of confrontation in Syria in the last 6 years, we never heard that the ISIS ever attacked Israel or Israel ever attacked ISIS? One time, by mistake, the ISIS, they attacked some Israeli soldiers. They thought they are Syrians and then apologized to Israel that it happened by mistake. So why is it so that ISIS, not only they are not attacking them, they are giving them medical service in the Israeli hospitals? This is really the pain. This is the tragedy that we are dealing. And you don't know how to react, how to cry for that much suffering, that much pain, that much injustice. And how can we even change it? So he's going to have these 2 visits in the Middle East and come back, and they have the arm, just attack if there are Shia in Yemen or in Syria or in Iraq or in Iran or in Lebanon or Afghanistan. They are the targets for $350 billion, the largest arms sale in history of Saudi, in the history of America, with one country. That is so embarrassing, so painful, so frightening, so evil, brothers and sisters. This is why we need Ramadan. We need Ramadan to have some message of humanity, message of piety, message of honesty, message to clean this world from all these diseases. But Allah says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. As long as there are people among the Muslims that consider the same corrupt king, the same criminals who are welcoming the President of the United States, and he goes there to shake hands with the corrupt and criminal leaders of that area. As long as there are some Muslims that consider those guys still as Khadim al-Haramain al-Sharifain and show respect for them, that means that we are going to continue this oppression and this illness and this disease, and we cannot have problem, we cannot solve this problem as long as this mentality exists. So Quran says we need to change the mentality, and Ramadan is an exercise for that, with 2 messages. One, the Holy Quran, the recitation. What does Quran say about peace and justice? And then the resistance, exercise of fasting in Ramadan to gain that spiritual freedom, the spiritual discipline, a spiritual determination, a spiritual vaccination, a spiritual piety and power. That is the message of Ramadan, can change the world. For that reason, brothers and sisters, let us welcome the holy month of Ramadan with willingness, with interest, with absolute preparation. Be ready for Ramadan. Your mind be ready, your heart be ready, your body be ready, your family be ready. The masajid be ready. And we are doing everything in the House of Wisdom to provide inspiring messages. Inshallah, we have of the best speakers to address our youth, the young generation, and provide them with the messages and with the lessons that help them in their personal life, family life, social life, political life, to help our community today and tomorrow. So all we want from you, brothers and sisters, to take those coming nights seriously and help us. It is not easy to put together all these programs. It takes lots of efforts, lots of communication. We don't have so many perfect options, but House of Wisdom tries its best to bring as perfect as possible programs that provide education and a spirit to our youth and to our families. So I hope that you take these nights, coming nights, seriously and bring the entire family to learn. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون وإلى الصلاة إن